You are a moth. Your eyes have never known day, but your soul yearns for light. Since your first flapping of wings, you have followed a glow you never understood, and now you are getting closer and closer to it. With every flash, you feel alive. But there is something strange about this heat. Something that burns, that consumes, that attracts. And what a killer. In this deeply symbolic and emotional first-person narrative, we delve into the mind of a moth reflecting on desire, illusion, instinct, and death as a devastating metaphor for human choices. I was born inside damp wood, hidden in the womb of a decaying world. There was silence, but not the silence of peace. It was the muffled silence of rotting matter. I don't remember the light. In fact, I didn't know it existed. Only a heat pulsed warm like the womb of a dead mother. I grew up in the pitch black, feeding on what died. Rotten wood, fragments, the dust of forgotten days. It was dark, but I wasn't afraid. That was all I knew. Every crack in the wood, every drop of moisture was an invisible map that my flesh learned without eyes, without understanding. Then the moment has come. Something inside me broke. An irresistible impulse, a silent order. My body broke, my skin tore, and I came out of it. Something else. A creature with wings. I was shaking, not because of the cold, but because now I listened to the world. And the world whispered something that I didn't understand. First, the sound. A subtle hum. A vibration in the air that seemed to call my name without uttering syllables. Then the smell. Sweet, strange, like ripe fruit mixed with the breath of something much older. And finally, the light. I can't describe it precisely. Not with the words I don't have. It was something that didn't exist at my birth. It wasn't just shine, it was desire. It was direction. It was a promise. And I was hungry. The first time I saw the light, it was far away. A trembling point in the darkness. My wing moved on its own, then the other, and before I knew it, I was flying. But flying wasn't freedom. It was necessity. It was impulse. It was as if my entire being had been created for that destiny. They didn't ask me if I wanted to go. My body simply decided for me. Each wing beat brought me closer to brilliance. A faint heat enveloped my belly. It was good. It was comfort. And even without knowing what that was, I convinced myself that I was born to achieve it. Others like me crossed the air. Some danced next to me for brief moments. Empty eyes, fragile. Wings, the same desire stamped on every rib of the body. None spoke. None deviated. We were all mesmerized. We followed a light that none of us understood. And then I started to notice some were falling. Yes, like late autumn leaves, they fell. From the air silently. One moment they were flying and the next they were gone, but the light, it made us forget. The light didn't let us think. The light whispered that it all made sense, even when the heat increased, even when the wings shook more than they should, even when instinct wanted to stop, but couldn't. The wood, the dark, the birth, everything seemed so far away now. It was as if I had been ripped from the womb of the world to seek something I never asked for, but now craved with every fiber of my body. Deep down, something in me knew. The light was not shelter. She burned, but that truth was just a whisper muffled by the glare. I wanted to play, I needed to play, not because of the light itself, but because, for a moment, she made me feel like my existence had a purpose. And at the end of the day, isn't that what we're all looking for? Sense, even if he destroys us. I'm closer now. I feel. The light vibrates on my skin like a war drum. It beats, not like a lighthouse, but like a heart. Alive, burning, hungry, and Come closer. Each beat of my wings is heavier than the last, not because of tiredness, but out of hesitation. Something inside me starts to twist, a feeling I've never known. They call it doubt. Others remain by my side. Moths like me, but different. Some fly with burned wings, with parts of their bodies missing, yet they follow. Others spin in circles, blind, mad, hitting the void. One fell next to me now. She was shaking. It was trying to fly, but its wings were stuck to the ground by a sticky substance. I saw his mouth open. If we have mouths. But no sound came out. I wanted to help her, but the light called me. The light always wins. She shines like a silent god. Doesn't respond. Don't listen. It just attracts, and the closer I get, the hotter the air gets. Before it was comfort. Now, it feels like I'm being cooked from the inside. My wings start to wrinkle at the edges, but I don't stop, because stopping would be admitting that something is wrong. And if everything I've experienced up until now has been through this light, admitting a mistake would be admitting that my life was in vain? No, I can't think that. I need to believe that the light has something for me. An ending, a destination. One reason, another moth falls. She crashes into the glow, and for an instant I see a flash. A sound clicks, a body crumbles into ashes. And me, I pretend I didn't see it. Pretending is a way to survive. Even when you're already dying. My eyes, if I can call them that, are burning. The vision that was blurred is now almost blind. All is glare and distorted shadows. I can't distinguish what is form, what is reflection, what is delirium. I miss the darkness from the comfort of rotten wood, from ignorance. But it's too late. The light enveloped me. It sings in my mind, an ancient song that sounds like 1,000. Voices whispering at once, words I don't understand, promises that feel true, because I want them to be. I remember the moment before the flight, when it was still wrapped in bark. I had a thought. Brief. What if the light is not shelter? What if it's a trap? But it was already too late. The first wing beat sealed my fate. There is no turning back. And now there is something new in the light. She watches me. Yes, she sees me. I feel like every part of me is being examined, measured, weighed, as if there was a silent trial taking place, and I was being condemned without the right to defense. The light does not speak. More sentence. Others are ahead. More daring. More desperate. One of them dives straight into the center. A high-pitched sound echoes, a flash, nothing is left. I shudder. Why do I still follow? Because stopping is giving up everything, and I don't know how to stop. Break. A moment of silence. The butterfly hovers in the air, as if time was frozen. If I could go back, if I could close my eyes and forget that glow, would I still have time? Or have I already become part of the light? Maybe it has already consumed me, inside. Maybe this voice that speaks now, don't be mine anymore. I played, for the first time. I played what I pursued all my short life. The light. And there was nothing. There nothing, except pain. She was not warm welcoming. It was fire. It was a blade. It was condemnation. When my wings touched the glow, a crack went through my body like thunder on a dry branch. I found myself breaking, not like I was falling, but like I was cracking inside, as if every part of me screamed, "Was that it?" My wings wrinkled in an instant. The lightness was gone. The air no longer supported me. I floated for a second. Then I fell. The world was spinning. The light exploded and retracted like a pulsing eye. Other bodies fell with me, some without wings, others still trembling, trying to escape the inevitability. I saw one of them hit the wall and slide to the floor. He was still trying to move. My legs scraped the floor desperately, trying to remember what it was like to fly. But light, it doesn't give back what it takes away. I tried to flap my wings. One side responded. The other was just pain. Then I realized there was no heaven to return to. There was no before. There was only now, and that now was agony. I smelled it, my own hair burning, the flesh falling apart in silence, because I couldn't even cry. The only thing left was the thought, and that's when he came. Why? Why? Does the light call us if there is no refuge? Why are we born hungry for something that destroys us? Why didn't anyone warn us that the promise was a lie? I looked up. The light was still shining, unchanged, unshakable, as if nothing had happened, as if I had never existed. And yet, even in ashes, even on the floor, part of me still wanted her. That was the cruelest blow, discovering that even though destroyed, even consciously, I still wanted what killed me. Is this love? Is love this absurd force that makes us run towards the end, convinced that it will be different? For us, other moths were now flying over my head, repeating my mistake, following my destiny without knowing, or maybe they knew. But it didn't matter, because when the light calls, the will dies. I tried to move. I tried to escape. But the light, it won't let go. It marks us. Even when we no longer look at her, it shines within the mind, like a memory that never fades, like a curse. And then I understood. Light is not the enemy. She is just the mirror of our desire. What we put there, it's what destroys us. The light didn't kill me. I was the one who followed her. I'm not special. I'm not the first, not Saray the Ultima. But maybe, if anyone hears this, if any other creature hears my fall, maybe choose dark, maybe I choose to live. But the truth is that few can resist the light, even if it burns, even if she lies, even if it takes us straight into the abyss. I don't know if I'm still alive. I don't know if I died. Maybe this place is the space between the two. I feel the world moving away, as if he were being pulled back by invisible ropes. The colors disappear. The sound dissolves. Only thoughts remain. And it's strange, because now that I can't fly anymore, now that my wings are just a memory, that's when I finally start to understand. Light was never shelter. She was a symbol. A reflection of what's inside, of the void that wants to be filled, the question that wants to be answered, from the heart that, even though it beats, doesn't understand why it continues. I think about wood, in the darkness, in the silent peace of when everything was still instinct. Were we happier before we knew what we wanted? Could it be that desire is the true curse? Weak ones, moths, humans, everything that breathes, we run after something we don't understand. Love, success, acceptance, light. We believe that by touching, by possessing, by reaching, we will complete ourselves. But perhaps the void has no bottom. Perhaps the abyss is within us, and the light only shows what is missing. I was made to desire. I wasn't taught to question. Just follow, flap your wings, climb, like a prayer without faith, like an empty promise repeated for generations. And when I finally arrived, when I played the answer, she burned my question. All that was left was silence, but now in the end, I think, for the first time, I think for myself. And this pain that runs through my fibers and my memory, this pain is mine. She is not of the light, it's mine, because I was the one who believed. I was the one who wanted it, and knowing that no matter how much it hurts, give me something that light never did. Conscience. Maybe that's what they call a soul. Not an eternal shine, but the ability to see one's own ruin and yet call it a choice. I don't regret being born, even if it was to die like this, because there was a moment, an instant, where I felt like I was alive, even if it was a lie, even if it was a trap. The existence, even brief, had weight, it had shape. It made sense, and maybe, after all, that's all we can ask for. One moment, a chance, a flight. If you're listening to me, if some part of me still echoes in another being, listen. Don't trust all the lights. Some were made to guide you, others to consume you, and sometimes it's better to stay in the dark. Time no longer exists. There is only memory. And even she falls apart, like dust in the night wind. I feel like my body is in ruins, not physically, but like a memory that gradually fades, drawing yourself in ashes before. The wind takes everything away. There is no pain, no more, just echo and silence. The floor is not the floor, air is not air, and I'm not a moth anymore. I am a memory. I am what remains after the end, a whisper that might reach you. Maybe it will touch you. Maybe for a moment it will make you hesitate before following any light. Because this is the secret that no one tells. Not all light is salvation. Some are just brightly lit traps. Think about this: when something attracts you too strongly, when the shine seems more beautiful than reality can sustain. Think about it when the promise is intense, but the path to it is made of silence and solitude. I was blinded by the light, but you can still see in the dark. You can still choose. You can still fly through another sky. You can still refuse the song of the abyss. And if this story spoke to any part of you, the part that already burned for something that never came, or the one that still flies in search of meaning, so you heard me. And that. This is already much more than I had. The moth doesn't come back, does not reappear, but his thought was suspended in the air, like dust illuminated by a timid ray of moonlight, and whoever listens, maybe take this thought further, maybe turn your pain into words, maybe it will turn your fall into a warning. Maybe now in you the moth lives on. Now one last request. If you've made it this far, if you heard my flight until the end, leave a light in the comments, not just any light. Leave only a flashlight. Because unlike the light that killed me, you can light this one whenever you want, and you can delete it too. Subscribe to the channel if you want to fly through stories like this, darkened by poetry and truth. Here, shadows are not the enemy. They are mirrors. And remember, sometimes what saves you, it's not the brightness of the lamp, but the courage to continue in the dark.